hello. Here we are again. So we are not having the Papo de Recruiter anymore for this year only. But we have a special guest today. So this person is a hiring manager. We just brought we decided to bring this person just to give you some insights, because I know that a lot of our clients, they have a lot of questions in regards to how should I put my CV to the hiring manager? How should I go for an interview when I'm being interviewed by a hiring manager? So today we have Daiane. I will just add her here. But if you have any questions or anything else, just please feel free to just send here in the chat or just send a message for me as well. And so just to remind you all, we are ThriveUp Career, and we are a career consultancy firm, and we help a lot of Brazilians and expats in general to find their dream job in Europe or any other country of your preference. So let me try to add here Daiane. So Daiane, as I mentioned before, Daiane, she's a hiring manager, so she's gonna bring some insights for all of us. Hi, Daiane.
Hi, hello, Mari.
Hi.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, all good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, good. Daiane, really nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. And sorry to disturb you. I know it's in the evening,
No
but thank you.
problem.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem. Hello. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much for the invite,
Oh,
Mari and Carol as well.
okay. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just to start, as I mentioned before, I don't know if everyone was here already. We just decided to bring you here in one of our lives, just because we have a lot of people asking questions about, hiring managers. Some people don't know what is a hiring manager, so I think that will be really nice to have your insights and bring some of your experience to us all. Daiane, please, can you just introduce yourself, just for everyone to know you?
Yes, no problem. So my name is Daiane. I've been living here in Ireland for almost 7 years now, so it's been quite some time.
Smile.
And I've been working now in the same company for 5 years. So I started in this company as customer service agent. Then I was promoted to the team leader position. Then I went to another project. It was a new desk that was starting in our company, and it's been like 2 years and something that I was promoted to customer service manager. And of course, explaining a little bit about being a hiring manager, it's not really a specific position, at least on our company.
Yeah.
But when you were bringing somebody to your team, you are the person who is managing the decision, is being part of the interviews, is being part of the panels with people who want to join the company, or even sometimes being promoted to positions and to roles inside of the company.
Yeah.
So so you are the person who is there, like together with HR, deciding exactly what is this what is this position specifically, and what you are looking for a candidate. So of course, together a customer service manager, I'm also doing this job with my team.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, thank you. Thanks for explaining. So, Daiane, so what type of roles you usually you are hiring, just for us to know?
Yeah, so our company is mostly focused on customer service. So we have three main roles that we interview on our company. So one of them is to be a customer service agent. That is an entry level position. And in my company, it's a multilingual company, so we hire for specific languages. So Portuguese is one, that it was the one that I started working for, but we have a lot of European languages as well. So I'd say I think we have people speaking 10 different languages within the company.
Yeah.
Then we have like an internal career growth, so
Nice.
it doesn't have like a specific recruitment process. So like it will be part of the customer service level. But then we also have like team leaders that are supervisors, so it's more a managerial position.
Okay.
And as well, like we had recently a business analyst position that it was a completely new position. So I worked in the whole process of creating this position and organizing like the recruitment process, some tasks that we did. So it was like an internal position at this point. And of course, like when we would be recruiting somebody from my position, for example, I would be involved in thinking of the answers and what we would want to see.
Okay, nice. Okay, cool. So first thing, as a hiring manager, that I want to ask you, in terms of okay, because I deal with a lot of hiring managers on a daily basis. I know that some hiring managers have some preferences, so I think it's important to make people to understand that hiring managers are different. So sometimes they have some specific preferences. But Daiane, for you, as a hiring manager, especially for your team and for the company that you're working at the moment, so what usually you are looking for in a CV? Let's just start with the CV, because probably the recruiters or I don't know, someone from HR send you the CVs, right?
Yes. So usually we have like as part of the process. So I think sometimes people think that all the responsibility is going through the recruiter, but no, like actually who you make the final call usually will be the team leader of the team together with the manager of the company, because they will be the ones who you know exactly what they are looking for on that specific position. So when we receive the CVs, it's really important that the CV is clear, concise, and brings like the actual experience that this person have. Why I say that? Because sometimes, like especially as we hire a lot for entry-level positions, so people try to bring all their experiences to the CV, because usually it will be the first job office experience, and then it will have a lot of things, and then you don't know really well what that person is looking for.
Okay.
So when the person read the job description and the person really understood what the person is applying for, like it makes much easier for that CV catch our eyes.
Yeah.
So something that is important for people to take in consideration as well, like for example, my company is really small, so we don't have the system that will track the CV. So we usually it will be done by HR, but when the CV arrives to the manager is the moment when that CV will really be seen. So it's important that that CV has some experience that matches what you were looking for, or at least the soft skills that are necessary. So if, for example, you will be working with customer service, it's important that on your CV you show that you focus on customers, that that you like dealing with customers, that you had that experience, that like customers are important for you. Or if you were going for a managerial position, like you needed to show that you have some experience leading people, like that you had some achievement when you were leading people. So for example, on my CV, like when I was working as team leader, I had like a lot of people from my team that was promoted internally on these like career paths. So that's something that I highlighted on my CV, because like my success as a manager is having my people being promoted, for example. So this growing. So you needed to think about these experiences and match. So I would say definitely like I know that when you are applying for positions, it's hard to really read through all the job descriptions, but it's important to read a bit that,
Oh yeah.
because it will be seen through the customer service, the experience that you had. So if you were applying for something with customer service, it has to have some customer service experience in that.
Okay. Sorry, Diane.
So I would say this is important. It needs to be clear, concise, focused on the position that you are looking for, with no photos in Ireland, at least.
That's important.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have a question here. Shall I add a personal photo to my CV? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's
Sorry,
fun.
I didn't see the question, but no, the idea is that you don't. Yes.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
Ireland, at least, no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really common. I have seen some CVs. I still see some CVs that they add their photo, but it's not. I don't think it's good because if you add your photo as well, it can, how can I say, it can, some people can be a bit, I don't know if it's man or if it's woman. I don't think it's good, because it can
Yeah.
bring up some, type of.
Yeah, the idea when you go to an interview is that the person will meet you and your
Yeah.
experiences and understand your competences and your soft skills, and will match that to the position that you are applying to. Like, we don't want to be biased.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
we don't want to know personal information.
If you're married.
It's really, yes, exactly, because here in Ireland, it's really important for us that we try to not be biased at all when we are interviewing, and that we are really giving the same chance to everybody who is applying and who is participating in the interview process. So this is important.
Yeah, and I completely agree. We have one question here. Are soft skills really valuable to be added on the CV?
So the soft skills, you can show it through the through your achievements. So it's really important that you try to bring, for example, you bring your initiative through your achievements, because you will talk about a project that maybe you created or something like that, but the soft skills will shine through the interview. Because usually I will go some steps further here, Mari, but as we have this question, so usually when you are building the interview questions together with the recruiter, you are thinking about competencies that are important for that position. So it will depend a lot so this is why it's hard even to say what I look for as a hiring manager, because it will depend a lot. It will depend on the position. It will depend on the team. Sometimes you have a team with these specific people, and you will find somebody who will match on that team. So sometimes you need somebody with more initiative or a lot of teamwork. I would say for customer service, for example, this is something that we look a lot. We really want people who are team workers. If you will apply for a sales position, you need to be really focused on targets, which is completely different.
Numbers,
Yes, so it will be really different depending on the position. So when we are building the questions for the interview, we want to see we create it through the competencies that are soft skills. So for example, if you are a team player, if you have initiative, if you have a positive approach to things, how you handle difficult situations. So with examples from your life, you will be able to bring these soft skills and show it through the interview when you are being interviewed. And one thing that is really, really important to say, because I know sometimes when we are doing the interviews as candidates, we tend to think that it's not the case. But when you are hiring, when you are interviewing someone, you really want that person to succeed. I think the saddest and the hardest thing for a manager when this person is hiring somebody is that you go through a lot of interviews and the candidate and you don't have successful candidates, or you try to ask because you really want to know and understand the experience from the person,
Mm-hmm.
and the person doesn't give you a proper answer or doesn't give you details. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really important. And when you are doing the interviews, you can really see if the person is prepared or if the person is not prepared for the
Yeah.
interview, because usually when you are prepared, you really have examples and you can
Mm-hmm.
talk about your
Mm-hmm.
experience, and it makes total
Oh
difference.
yeah. Yeah, you can say it. I think some people, they are more used to do like last minute interviews, but that's not my case. I
No.
think most of people, they need to get prepared, especially for us when it's not our first language. We need
Hmm.
to get prepared in terms of words and everything. Like even that, like for us that we have been living here for a while, we are not, native, so
Yeah.
we need to get prepared. And it, as you said, it's clear, you can see very clear when this person is prepared or not.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes, especially because like when you go to the interview with the recruiter, that usually will be a screening call, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it will be a video call. Like it will be mostly for you to talk about your
Mm-hmm.
experiences. So like they will try to understand you to see if you could be a good match or no, and then they will bring you forward to the manager or to the tests, like to have you proceeding through the process. But
Mm-hmm.
when you were really like being interviewed in the panel where you have like usually HR and the hiring manager, or sometimes only the hiring manager, it will depend on the structure of the company,
Mm-hmm.
or even 2 or 3 managers depending on that. That is the moment when you really need to be prepared. So usually from the first to the second day, you already have that information.
Mm-hmm.
So take that time to really prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say prepare, like sit, like this is like the feedback that I usually give after interviews, especially when it's internal, because then we have more time to
Mm-hmm.
give like
Yeah.
a specific feedback. But sit and try to write down the things that
Mm-hmm.
you did, and sometimes like even ask somebody else like to give you some ideas about the things that you did like on your job and or inside the company, because we tend to forget about the things that we
Yeah.
do, and from that build examples.
Mm-hmm.
So and write down the examples. Don't think like, oh no, I will know what to say. No, you
Mm-hmm.
probably won't, because
Yeah.
like it's really important to write down at least
Yeah.
some, because then you have that structure of the STAR method, that is the
Mm-hmm.
situation, task, action, and result.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that built like and really clear on your mind, yes, you will be able within an interview, maybe like if you needed to come up with something like last
Yeah.
moment, because it's impossible that you'll be prepared for all the
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Yeah.
But if you like start doing this exercise, it will be much easier for you to come like with that example from
Mm-hmm.
nowhere when you were doing the interview. So like
Yeah.
take the time to write it
Yeah.
down.
I know. Yeah. And what I was going to say is, it's like, even that you get prepared and you go for the interview, and it may happen that they will ask you some questions that you weren't prepared, but then you can it, it's not, it's difficult for a candidate to be 100%. So we see that
Yeah.
when people are nervous, and that's fine, but you have to try to perform as much as you can. You're there to sell yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's important to detail exactly what you did, like think about what you did. Think like about whom you worked with. Like
Mhm.
try to understand like from your answers, for example, if you give like an example that you worked with your team, like think about in which moment you reached for help from your manager to ask for some advice, when you looked into your colleague to, because then through that you show that you were a team player. So it's on
Mhm.
your example. And nowadays, Mari, I think it's much easier than when I was preparing for interviews, because like I would say, like go to chat GPT or
Yeah,
any
yeah,
AI feature
yeah.
throw there like the job description, and
Mm-hmm.
then ask like, oh, can you give me some possible questions that I might have like
Mm-hmm.
for this specific position? Then it's much easier for you to think of examples.
Yeah.
And usually when you are recruiting and you see the potential of that person, you will ask further questions because you really want to understand the experience of that
Yeah.
person. So like if somebody asks you like you were doing the interview and the person asks some extra question, oh, could you give me a specific example, or what was the result for that? So like
Mm-hmm.
take it into consideration, because like that person wants to learn more about your experience to make the decision
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
who will be hired.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's really good. But in terms of feedback, then that you always provide feedback after the final interviews.
So yes, like this is something that we like to
Mm-hmm.
do. So like when it's like an external with external candidates, usually the HR calls
Mm-hmm.
and gives the feedback,
Okay.
and or like sends it via email.
Mm-hmm.
When it's internal, we usually sit down with people to really
Oh
give
yeah,
the feedback.
that's nice.
So like because like we want everybody to be more prepared for the next interview. Like we value a lot the fact that people wanted to grow inside of the company,
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
and yeah, like I think this is really important. And I would say like I would encourage people also to ask feedback back, you know, like because I know some companies don't do it, but if you would ask, maybe they would consider to give you some hints, some
Mm-hmm.
ideas
Yeah.
for that feedback. And on the other hand, I would say don't personalize too much. I was even talking like in a group like some weeks ago that somebody said, oh, but they mentioned that I didn't tick the boxes. Like yes, but that's really generic. So like it's really hard. Like there is no, that's what I was like, trying to explain. Like there is no checklist
Yeah.
that we imagine that the person will tick all the boxes. No, it will
Yeah.
depend a lot on the position, on the team. So the best thing is to be prepared, explain your experience, do your best interview, because if you will be a good fit, you will be considered for that position.
Yeah.
And I always say, if like in the end they would decide that you are not a good fit, maybe because that experience or that specific position
Yeah.
wasn't exactly matching your experience,
Mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't be good for you, like in a way. Or sometimes, yeah, you have like two or three really good candidates and you need to choose one, and usually people say it in the as feedback as well, so it's not to disencourage, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like it's normal that you would choose one
Yeah.
candidate over another if you have one
Yeah.
position only. Yes, but I think it's really important like to ask for feedback
Yeah.
if
I think so.
possible.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
always tell our clients as well, because a lot of companies that they don't provide feedback, or maybe they can't give you much details about the, with the
Mhm.
feedback, it would be more generic. And but it, as you said, it's not necessarily that you aren't good. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
just they had someone that was a bit stronger than you, or maybe they
Mhm.
have some specific experience that you don't have, but you went well. So definitely everyone has to ask for feedback, because it's really important, like you said, like to
Yeah.
improve yourself as well.
Yeah, and one thing as well, Mari, that happens like especially like when, like I would say, like when we are coming from Brazil, and this is something that we try to also take in consideration when we are interviewing, because we are foreigners
Yeah.
and we understand it. Like not everybody will understand, but
Hmm.
when you were living in your home country, even if it was Brazil or another country where like you were like working on your profession, like you have a lot of experience,
Hmm.
and then like it's important that you understand well the position that you were applying for
Yeah.
example. Like we had a lot of candidates that were really really good, but they were applying for an entry level position, and
Okay.
they were bringing all examples from like a managerial level, for example,
So
because I understand that like when you were working back in Brazil, you had that position, and then like you were switching to something different. So it's important that your examples are tailored to what you were applying as well. Because like we had like many times amazing candidates, but we were like, wow, this is not actually like, if I would have like a team leader position for this person, it would be perfect. But with this experience, I think like this is too entry
yeah,
level, and then like I would have a candidate that would be more entry level with a good interview as well,
and
and I would
can
choose that
grow as
person.
well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because like sometimes, like even like with the questions that you were asking in the end of the interview, it's always important to have questions. And this is something that we can understand a bit, like, oh, will this person be happy like with this position, or maybe this person wants something else that we want to like be able to offer soon. Because of course, like it will depend on the company. Some companies might have like a development, a career path built that they could have people
Yeah.
growing. Some companies know that, oh, like for you to grow more than that, only if you will be the owner. So like that,
Yeah.
like, so it will
Yeah.
depend a lot on the position. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to tailor the experiences to that. So if you were applying for an entry level position, I know that it's good that you had like experience as supervisor, but for that interview, it won't
You
be
don't
the
have to
best.
focus on that.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So
Definitely.
I think this is something that is part as well of the preparations, to understand to which position you are applying,
Mm-hmm.
and really like focus your answers on that direction.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. Let me see the questions here. If I apply for a customer service role which demands the Portuguese language, is that still considered a general skill?
Like it's more a technical skill,
Yeah.
right? So because like for example, if like that is one of the requests, so that will be one part of the interview
Mm-hmm.
process. So for us, for example, it has the a writing test, because we wanted to confirm if that
Mm-hmm.
person like knows really well grammar, knows
Yeah.
how to communicate in Portuguese in writing.
Mm-hmm.
But then like for the interview, like so then like this is a hard skill that we would
Okay.
say, and a more technical skill. Like the other like soft skills would be this, like if you have positive approach, like if you have a team, you are a team player, if you have initiative,
Mm-hmm.
like if you are a proactive person or no, like
Yeah.
so that would be more the soft skills, and the hard skills would be like, oh, the language that you speak, if
Mm-hmm.
you like really write well, like considering your grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies might ask, for example, Excel or
Mm-hmm.
Word skills.
Yeah.
So that is the separation that is important to do. I would say that, for example, if you are really good at Excel, when you were talking about a project that you did, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you can mention like, oh, I created, I don't know, a file to help my team track the projects that we had for the week, and I created it through an Excel file.
Mm-hmm.
So then you are showing that you have that expertise as well. But with this small answer, I'm showing like initiative, because I was the person who created
Yeah.
the file, so I have that technical skills. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm showing that I'm team player, because I was helping my team to track something.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more or less how you can look at your experience and understand this difference
Mm-hmm.
within the answers that you are
Yeah.
giving in the
No,
interview.
yeah, no, that's good because a lot of when you're applying for a job, sometimes the companies they provide you some of the competencies that they are going to assess you. It's not all, but some of them they can provide it. And sometimes, okay, it says I don't know, some technical skills. They ask for technical skills, and then they say communication. But then it doesn't mean that you have to bring an example with communication. You have to demonstrate, as you said, you have to demonstrate in your examples or initiatives. So it's good for you to mention that, because you have to demonstrate, and even on your CV as well.
Yes.
You don't have to say, oh, I have communication skills. You can just mention or give an example that you use your communication skills to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, if we would think about communication, for example, we usually we would want to understand how you would communicate to a colleague, or like so this is something that we usually say as well. So when you are thinking like about examples, think about a good and a bad example. So like, oh, when I needed to, I don't know, give a handover, for example, to a colleague, to make this person well informed about what happened in the week, so I'm showing that I'm able to communicate with that person, that I'm able to bring insights like that. I'm bringing this environment. But like it could be as well like, this would even be more interpersonal skills, but like, like how you react, for example, when you receive a negative feedback, if it will be like from your manager or from a colleague or from a customer sometimes.
Yeah.
So with that, like with that example, we will be able to see like, oh, does this person accepts feedback or no? Does this person like think about the feedback, reflect about it, change it? So when you were thinking about the examples, it's important to think about all these things. Like, we don't want to know exactly like what happened, but how you react during that situation. So like it's really important to think about it. Oh, like if it will be about feedback, like we want to understand how you get feedback, how you incorporate it through your learning, if you make changes from that. Like what was the result? Like you had a difficult situation with your colleague. So like after that, like how did you react? Have you had a conversation, for example? After the conversation, could you manage to have a good relationship at work? Like could you continue working together? So these are the important parts of the answers that you needed to bring for the recruiter to understand, the hiring manager, the recruiter, to understand how you were perceiving that situation, how you were incorporating that into your professional experience, and how you were taking that to learn and make changes, and the results that you bring.
No, I agree. One question here: can I bring examples from my career in Brazil even if I already have work experience in Europe?
Sure, 100%. I would say that the best for you is to always think about which experiences that you have that can be a good match. So for example, if you have like more entry-level positions experiences like in Brazil as well, that you like were matching, like, oh, imagine you worked in a store at some point, like when you were living in Brazil, you can bring that. You can bring that specific experience that you had back there. So it's not a problem. Usually it's good that you build and you bring good examples. It doesn't matter too much in which company you had that experience. Even when we are doing internal recruitment processes on our company, we reinforce to the candidates, oh, you can use examples from anywhere, like it doesn't need to be specifically from inside of this company.
And I don't know why some people think that we couldn't use our skills from Brazil or from any other your home country, because it's valid, it existed, so why not? So I think it just has to make sense, and don't be like an example too old, like, oh, it was like 15 years ago or something. But no, it's really, we need to sell ourselves, so we need to say whatever makes sense with the role that you're applying. And we don't have to restart from the scratch here, so we had a past
Yes,
So
exactly.
need to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really important. And the skills are transferable as well. Like even
Okay.
if
Oh
you were
yeah.
not working as a customer service agent there, but you were working, I don't know, with accountancy, for example, and you have good examples like when you were working in a project,
Hmm.
when you were like having activities together with your team, when
Yeah.
you received a feedback from your manager, when you gave a good idea, good insight, you can transfer that skills because
Okay.
that's the main part of the competencies. I think this
Hmm.
is really different when we compare Brazil to here.
Hmm.
At least like my experiences with interviews like in
Hmm.
Brazil and here were completely different. But
Hmm.
here like we have this advantage that we can really bring this difference and transfer these competencies
Yeah.
and these skills
Hmm.
into the
Yeah.
experiences that we have.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
definitely. So, like, just one more question. There is something specifically that you have seen a few times, like the same issue, the same pitfalls, let's say. There is something that you have noticed that people do wrong again and again.
People don't have examples.
Oh, yes.
So this is heartbreaking because like especially when we are interview we really try, like I try to ask follow up. I try to say like, oh, so maybe if you don't have an example like maybe hypothetically, what would you
Uh-huh.
do on this situation? Like I try to push because I really wanted to help people.
Yes.
Like I really want people, but this is when I say like that it's important about preparation, because if you
Hmm.
are prepared, if you thought about your experience, it will come up with
Yeah.
something. And yeah, like sometimes if you don't have a specific example, like you can even bring like, okay, oh, maybe I don't have an example about it, but hypothetically if I would do this,
Yeah.
like that's how I would react.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is really important. Don't leave the person who is interviewing you without a good answer, like
Yeah.
or at least like an structured answer. So as
Hmm.
most that as you prepare and you like have examples written, it will be more automated on your mind,
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
bring that. And the other thing that I would say, Mari, that
Hmm.
like especially for people who try to contact like people working as managers or like even on HR, I believe, like through
Hmm.
LinkedIn, it's really important to not use only general messages from
Oh,
chat
yeah.
gpt, because we notice that I don't reply. I really don't, because like I received some messages like, oh, like your career is amazing. Like,
You don't,
why?
you don't know.
Like you notice that that person is not really trying to build a
Yeah.
network with you. That person didn't check your
Oh, I
profile. So
see these
if you
messages every
all
day,
the
Dai.
time, yeah,
Every
so
day.
like you won't feel like compelled to answer that. You won't feel like I don't know, like the reason to connect with that person,
No.
because like that. So like if you wanted to connect to somebody, go there, check the LinkedIn. You can even say like, oh, hi, I've seen that you are Brazilian as well.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm also Brazilian, I'm starting my career here.
Hmm.
Maybe by any chance are you hiring on your company, or do you have any tip? Or I would love I want to say like how to give an idea, because when I was starting looking for this, like it was my first office job. I
Hmm.
worked as a store assistant before here.
Hmm.
I'm journalist, like back in Brazil, I worked as journalist always, like here as well, like kind of.
Uh-huh.
But when I moved here, I worked most of the time, like before starting this company, I worked as a store assistant. So the
Hmm.
interview there was really hard as well, like, and I prepared a lot.
Uh-huh.
I remember like with a lot of examples. And my mom, for example, had a clothes store back in Brazil, and I used that experience. I was like, look, I was a journalist, but my mom had a clothes store. I worked there for a really long
You
time.
see?
And and I think like I have this experience. I always liked like dealing with customers,
Mm-hmm.
and I used that on my first interview, and then on my second interview, like second interview, no, but like my main interview, this one like for the company that I am for 5 years until today,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find my first office job. And then I started mapping some recruiters
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn, but not messaging. And I remember there was this recruiter from one of these big companies that we have here in Ireland. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't CPL, like,
Okay.
but one of these ones.
Yeah.
And then I noticed she posted something like, "Oh, if you would like to change career, give me a call." And then I called her. I was like, okay, fine, I will call. And I called her and I said like, hi, look, I saw this post on your LinkedIn,
Uh-huh.
and I'm looking for a career. And she said, oh, did you see any specific position? And I said, no, but I noticed that we had a common connection. And I
Ah.
noticed that that person probably was really friend of her. And then she
And
was trying to say to me like, oh, go away. And then I was like, oh, that person, like I know that person.
uh-huh.
And she was like, oh, really? So are you friend of this lady? And I was like, oh no, actually one day I saw like one speech that she was giving as an advice for career. But
Mm-hmm.
then she said to me like, look, now I don't have any position for Portuguese here in Dublin. I only have one in Galway. If you don't want to move to Galway, you need to wait a bit. And I was like, okay, fine. 3 weeks after this
She
position
remembered.
where, yeah, she called me. And
Oh,
she was like, oh, and even if you have like more Portuguese speakers to refer, like we have a lot of
yeah.
positions for this
No,
company,
and
so you can refer.
yeah,
So it
no,
was
you
that.
see, yeah, no, and she remember you because you made her to remember you in the future, right?
Yeah.
So it's
So
not.
so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's
pay
really nice.
attention on people like LinkedIn, like
Yeah.
if you were sending a message, see if there is any way to connect,
Mm-hmm.
if you have any common connection, if you have like a way to bring the attention of that person, because maybe that's your
Yeah.
chances. So ChatGPT is amazing for
Mm-hmm.
generic things,
Mm-hmm.
but not for
Oh
everything.
yeah, yeah. No, and even that I have seen some people approaching high managers on LinkedIn, and the hiring managers they just come straight to me and they just say, Marielle, I want to hire this person, can you just invite for an interview? Because this person demonstrate initiative. It happened as well that some candidates with not enough experience, but they had some experience but not enough for that position, and the hiring manager said, no, I think this person has a really good initiative. He came to me and he emailed me after. He was following up with me. So I like this guy. So I just want to interview. So we need to have this attitude, especially for us, because everything is a bit more difficult for us.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's good to mention as well.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we don't have any more questions. And Dai, thank you so much for joining us today and bring all your story and your tips. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure to see and speak with you.
No problem. Thank you, Mari. And I hope like everybody can get the position
Yes,
they are
yes.
aiming for in the future. Like the key is preparation. And I always say to everybody, this is the only thing that we can control. We
Mhm.
cannot control what the hiring
Yeah.
manager is looking for. We cannot
Mhm.
control like what the other candidates
Yeah.
are doing. The only thing that we can control is our preparation, how we are like putting this effort, especially to interview. So it's really hard to get the chance to arrive into the panel.
Mhm.
So if you got that chance, really put some time like to prepare, because it might pay
Oh yeah,
off
yeah,
really well,
yeah.
because this is what you can control when you are recruiting. And even if you get a no, like try to understand why, try
Yeah.
to see like as well like what you could be done better,
Mhm.
try to seek for feedback. Don't let that be like the end of the road
Yeah,
as
and
well, because
let you down.
like
It's okay to be
yes,
frustrated, but we have to learn from our mistakes, or maybe if the company didn't provide any feedback, just try to reflect and see
Yeah, yeah,
what do you think that could be improved. So definitely something that can be improved. Yeah. Cool. Thank you
yeah.
so much,
Thank
Dai. Thank you so
you.
much, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye. Thanks everyone that joined our call, and yeah, so see you soon. We won't have the live Papuji Recruiter anymore, but we will find more people to bring here to bring some insights like Daiane. Thanks so much. Good night.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.